everybody, welcome back in the shed. I'm Troy, this is Dave.
Greetings.
And today we're talking about the top 3 cover songs that are better than the originals. But before we get started, why don't you leave your picks below and see if they match ours. And also make sure to subscribe to this channel. One thing that I really love about doing this is that we don't know each other's picks. I don't know what he's picked, he doesn't know what I picked, and I'm always excited to hear your top 3.
Why don't you take it away?
I'm going to start off first this time.
All right.
Okay. So my number 3 is Joe Cocker, A Little Help from My Friends.
Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song.
It's a great choice, Beatles song.
Beatles song, yeah. It came
And
out.
Joe Cocker did a lot of Beatles songs.
Yeah, I know his debut album came out in 1969, and it was actually called A Little Help from My Friends. He took the song and he made it his own for sure, because it's a totally different rendition of the song.
All I need is my buddy.
Even Paul McCartney loves that song. Let me read you what Paul McCartney said about that song at the
Hey,
time.
go ahead.
It was just mind-blowing. Totally turned the song into a soul anthem, and I was forever grateful for him doing that.
Well, you know, Joe Cocker played at Woodstock too.
Yeah.
And he did that song, if I'm not mistaken, at Woodstock.
Lord, I know you.
Joe Cocker basically made a career out of covering songs.
Yeah.
He didn't write songs, he just covered them. Of course, you know, Saturday Night Live with John Belushi. That's a classic.
I
classic.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just can't waste my time. Put you back. Stop leaving on your time.
No, I love Joe Cocker, and you know what else?
What else?
He's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wow, that is.
It's a crime.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
one of those guys. And I think part of it is because he wasn't an original artist, he was a performer, and he did all these cover songs. Basically, his whole career was built on that.
Yeah.
But he's worthy just as a singer.
Yeah.
Because he is so...
He put so much soul and emotion into all those songs that
and
he did.
spazzing.
Yeah, and spazzing. Yeah.
But no, I love Joe Cocker, and he's deserving, if anybody is deserving, for being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I would totally agree. So what's your number 3?
Well, before I get going, I just want to say I'm not going to pick what is probably the most obvious song, because it's too obvious, which is, and it might be Troy's, but I'm just going to throw out All Along the Watchtower.
It's not on my list, but yeah, I would agree. That's a great cover song.
Well, it's the one song that even Bob Dylan said, Jimi Hendrix outdid him when he did it. Yeah. I mean, it was just, and there's so many Dylan covers to begin with, but...
Well, if you're going to cover somebody, cover a Bob Dylan song.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that was always, it would be so obvious to be the best cover song. But I don't want to go there. I want to go somewhere else. So I'm going to go with La Bamba by Los Lobos. La Bamba was recorded by Richie Valens. And Richie Valens, actually, it was an old Mexican folk song, and he covered it, and it was the B-side to the song Donna. Oh, Donna, oh, Donna. And it was really a surprise hit for Richie Valens, and it was one of the first songs in the history of American music that was sang in a different language. Yeah, the movie La Bamba had, Lou Diamond Phillips in there playing Richie Valens, and it was a surprise hit movie. I mean, no one really expected it, but it ended up getting a Golden Globe nom for Best Picture.
Really? Yeah.
And Los Lobos actually did the soundtrack for the whole album, and they're one of my favorite bands of all time, and I've seen them a ton of times. And there's few bands that I love more than Los Lobos. They made that song, it became a hit, and it became a #1, and it was really the only #1 hit Los Lobos ever had. I think the movie still holds up today, and you know, I love that song. I love that album. I love that movie.
Yeah, that movie and song came out when I was in high school. Everybody listened to that song at the time. So, you know, I had a band in high school, and it was me and two other guys, two Mexican dudes,
Yeah.
Jesse and Macario, and we actually played La Bamba.
You got that riff down?
Yeah. And it's also Twist and Shout.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the same
Same
song.
chord progression.
So when
yeah.
we would play this song, we would play La Bamba, and then we would go into Twist and Shout, and then go back into La Bamba.
Well,
Problem was, I didn't really know the words because it was in Spanish.
Yeah, exactly.
So after every time we'd play that song, I'd have all my Mexican friends come up and be like, you know, you're singing that all wrong. I said, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. They would correct me.
That's
They would
awesome.
correct me. So yeah, we played that song in high school. It was a fun song to play. Well, my number 2 could very well be on your list. It's Janis Joplin, Me and Bobby McGee.
Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee.
It's not on my list, and that's a Chris Christopherson song.
Yeah.
And it's a great song. It's probably Janis's most famous song, and it came out on that album Pearl.
After she died.
After she died,
Yeah.
she had recorded that album, and it really became Janis's biggest album too. Pearl was her biggest album.
I think it was the first #1 song that was put out after somebody died.
Really?
Yeah,
There's probably been more since then, I guess.
probably,
but yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was the first. Yeah,
Janis is, you know, from Port Arthur. She's a Texan. She's legendary, and I picked her as my #1 female singer on
Yeah.
a previous episode because I don't think anyone has ever rivaled Janis as well as. I would have to think, you know, you maybe get like Amy Winehouse or somebody like that, but there wasn't really anyone that could really, you know, bring it to the table like Janis did. And that was a great song, and you know, I don't think anyone really ever heard the Chris Christopherson version.
well, I did when I researched this, and
Yeah.
it doesn't compare.
Good enough for me and Bobby McGee.
Chris Christopherson wrote the song, but Roger Miller recorded it first.
Good enough for me and Bobby McGee.
And a
well,
lot
that
of
had to be so different from
Yeah.
Janis.
Oh,
because
yeah, yeah.
Roger Miller's like
it's a country song.
Oh, yeah, it's a country
Yeah, it's a
song,
big,
yeah.
even when Chris Christopherson does it, it's a country song.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
so
sure.
many people have covered this song. Kenny Rogers, Gordon Lightfoot,
Really?
the Statler Brothers.
I can see that. I'd love to hear the Gordon Lightfoot version.
Good enough for me and Bobby McGee.
Jerry
that.
Lee Lewis
Really?
actually did a cover. I looked at the list. It's like 50 artists that have covered this song over the years. It's crazy.
That's a great song.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when you think of this song, you think of Janis Joplin.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she owned it.
When I call him my lover, call him my man, I said I call him my lover, did the best I can, come on.
Well, my #2 song is America by Yes. I know you don't know this song, but it's one of my favorite songs of all time.
I might know the song if I heard it. I'm
Well,
not
it's
sure.
a Simon and Garfunkel song.
Oh, okay.
I've come to look for America.
Yes recorded it when they were doing the Close to the Edge album, which is arguably their best album. But they did this like 10.5-minute version of that song. And if the lyrically, you'll know it's a Simon and Garfunkel song because it has the same lyrics, but it's a totally different song. Yes took it to a totally different level. There's an interlude where Steve Howe does this 3.5-minute guitar lead interlude thing, and it's one of my favorite 3.5 minutes of guitar ever. Of course, this is the classic era of Yes, where you have John Anderson, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Bill Bruford on drums, and Rick Wakeman on keyboards. And it's such a great song. And I mean, it's like 10 and a half minutes long. And it's just why I couldn't make it on the album. They did a shorter version, I think, that they put on the album, but it doesn't compare. And it's just mind-blowing musicianship on there.
So what album is it on then? If it's
Well,
not
it was supposed to be on Close to the Edge, but it couldn't make it on there, so they released it later on another album, I think a compilation album, and it didn't come out, in '73 or whenever that album came out. I'm a
Yeah.
prog guy.
Yeah.
I love a lot of prog bands, and they are my favorite prog band, and it's the best shit, man. I'm telling you. And we're gonna show. Well, I gotta probably get a couple clips in there for Steve Howe's little guitar break. It's really bizarre for Yes to do a cover of a Simon and Garfunkel song.
I can't wait to hear it because you always pick. Well, you pick a lot of songs that I've never heard, and then I hear these songs. I'm like, man, they're especially on the last episode we did.
Yeah.
With the Forgotten Southern Rock.
Yeah.
Bands. I'm like, some
Mother's
of the songs,
Finest.
yeah, wow, they jam, man. They were
man.
jamming.
And I know we caught a little grief on that because they're not really like prototypical Southern rock, but I think the way we took it is we were looking at bands from the South
Yeah.
that were forgotten. Not necessarily Allman Brothers, Blackfoot, Black Oak Garden
Exactly.
songs,
I mean,
stuff
people
like
can
that.
take it any way they want to.
Any way they
Yeah.
want to. But anyways, what's your number two?
Nope, my number one. Go
Numero uno.
So my number one cover song is a song, it's so good as a cover song that most people probably don't even know it's a cover song. And I didn't even know it until like last week.
Please don't keep me in suspense.
It is Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, I Love Rock and Roll.
Of course. Okay.
I just had no idea that was a cover song. So it was originally recorded by a band called The Arrows. In the mid-'70s, and when Joan Jett was with the Runaways touring in England, they saw the band.
Really?
And
Is that where she got
That's
it?
where she got the idea to
No
do
kidding.
that. So when she went solo, and I guess I can't remember exactly what year that album
That
came
was
out.
like
but that
nine-
is a
that was
when
like
you-
1980,
When you think
something
of
like
Joan
that.
Jett, you think of I Love Rock and Roll, and when you think of I Love Rock and Roll, you think of Joan Jett. Never even heard of the Arrows before, and evidently they had a couple of TV shows in England, and they put out a couple of singles, but they never put this song out as a single. And I will have to say that Joan Jett's version is way better than the original. The original is okay, but Joan Jett took it to a whole new level, and everybody in the world knows that
Yes.
song.
Moving on, he was with me, yeah, me singing.
The thing about Joan is she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I wish you probably should be.
Ahead of some people that I don't.
Okay.
All right, but here's the thing. What's your second biggest song?
Well, she has Crimson and Clover
Cover song.
cover song. She has the one that she's probably making so much money off of it. I think on the Monday Night Football theme song.
Yeah.
They stole that from her. What song is that? I can't think of what it is.
Yeah. Anyways, I think Joan is great, and she rocks. She plays guitar.
She's still
She's got a
playing
great
now.
singer.
She's
Yeah,
like 70 years old and still on tour.
I don't know if she's that old, but she's
Well, she's
probably
60.
she's about my age actually.
Okay,
She's probably
yeah.
early
But she's still
early old.
Yeah, early old. She still dresses the same. She can still sing.
Yeah, she
can
looks
still
good.
rock. You know.
But yeah, it was that was her biggest song.
Yeah.
And she made a career out of doing cover songs.
Yeah.
And of course she has some originals, but good for her. If you want to play guitar, that's an easy song to play.
It is, yeah. It's one of those songs that a lot of guitar players learn first.
Yeah, exactly. Smoke on the Water.
I love rock and roll.
I love rock and roll.
Yeah. And Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man.
That's the other
No,
one.
it's Smoke on the Water, Iron
Iron Man.
Man.
I Love
I
Rock
Love
and Roll.
Rock and Roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that song takes me back to when I was about 10, 11, 12 years old. In San Saba, so the mascot for San Saba is the armadillos. We're the San Saba Armadillos. So there was this game room / pool hall that was called the Dillo Den. And I remember going there, and I don't know why I was there, because I was way too young to be in this place, because this is where all the cool guys would hang out, you
It's
know.
sort of like in the movie
Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused.
Exactly.
Ninth grade, and you're going to buy a 6-pack across the street.
But I
and
wasn't
going-
even ninth grade. I was fourth grade or fifth grade.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell I was doing there, but I remember going in there, and you know, all the guys are smoking, and you know, everybody looks so cool. They all look like Matthew McConaughey, and they would play that song on the jukebox over and over and
Bum,
over.
bum.
So when I think of that
Bum,
song,
bum, bum, bum.
I saw him dancing there by the record machine.
so what's your number one, Dave?
My number one is "You Really Got Me" by Van Halen.
Ah, that's a great one. I totally forgot about that one.
It's the third song off their debut album. Of course, you had "Running with the Devil" and then "Eruption."
Yeah.
And then it segued right into "You Really Got Me."
Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
It was, you know, originally a Kinks song, and Van Halen always kind of had a thing about the Kinks. You know, they did another cover
They had
later
a kink
on.
for the Kinks, huh?
Yeah, they were kinky for the Kinks. Of course, Van Halen later covered, you know, "Where Have All the Good Times Gone," but talk about,
Pretty Woman too.
and well, that wasn't a Kinks song.
Oh no, that's true.
Well,
that's
they
true.
did-
But they did a lot of cover
They
songs.
did
yeah. Yeah.
Diver Down was, you know, half of the album was cover song. But "You Really Got Me," I think everyone had heard that song by the Kinks, but it was totally forgotten because it was, you know, 10 years earlier.
You really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
Van Halen took it and just freaking murdered it. It was so freaking awesome. And it was, you know, the hit off that first album that Van Halen did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you really got me now. Got me so I can't see that thing.
Eddie's guitar lead in that song would blow away anything that Dave Davies could ever have played with the Kinks. And Roth's vocals totally surpassed anything Ray Davies could have ever done on that song.
yeah.
You know, a lot of songs, when they cover them, they don't really deviate that much. But Van Halen's version of that song is like a different planet.
I would agree. Oh yeah, I love that song. And you know, when it first came out, or when I first heard it, I didn't know it was a Kinks song. You know, a lot of those songs I didn't know at the time. You know, you discover these things.
I
later,
did,
but-
actually.
Well, yeah,
because-
but you
you
did.
know, I'm old as freaking,
Yeah. You're almost as old as Joan Jett.
I'm sawdust. But yeah, I am probably as old as Joan Jett. But
You look better than Joan Jett, though.
really, I don't
Yeah.
have the eyeshadow that she does, but I could probably use it.
She's got her face stretched here and there a couple of times
really?
over the years. Yeah.
Nothing. It was all natural, right here.
All
Look at
natural.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Van Halen version of that song is the greatest. There's going to be a lot of great cover songs. And like I said, I left out All Along the Watchtower, but please comment out the ass. And we love reading the comments. We try to respond to all the comments. If we're a little slow, it's, well, because we're slow. But yeah, please do. And we really do appreciate the comments.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Like I said, leave a comment below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the link below. Get some merch, and we'll see you next time in the shed.